So Allison, thank you.
That's a little hard to follow. They're way cuter. So, hello and welcome to all of you. I want to thank Deb for asking me to speak today, although I am much more comfortable with 10-year-olds than I am with all of you. So be patient if I sort of fall all over my words. I'm really grateful that you've all been able to get here. I was a little bit worried with the floats and the carnival and the cars and the traffic that maybe that might be a little bit of an issue, but obviously that worked out very well. We're all here for the same reason, to remember and celebrate John's life, and a great life it was. I know that each and every one of you feel lucky to have known him and had him in your life. I'd like to introduce myself formally. My name is Allison Nelson. I'm working as a teacher at Mountain View Elementary here in Shelton. I had the amazing luck of getting hired by John over 30 years ago. John had a lot of loves in his life, his wife, his children and his grandchildren, his antiques, but of course, education. So most of you know that John spent many years in education as a teacher and as an administrator, and most of you know that he was a kindergarten teacher. And anyone, not me, anyone that can do kindergarten for more than a year or a day even, has grown their angel wings long before they ever leave this earth. There's a special place in heaven for kindergarten teachers. I won't be there, I'm sorry. His commitment to his job was unmatched, and so was his love for children and also the staff that he served. I'd like you to raise your hand if you worked with or for John in education during his time period. So thank you for that. And it's an interesting that word "worked for," because that was never the feeling that we felt when we worked for John. I know I can say that for many of us. He worked for us. We were equals. He trusted us. He allowed us to do our best work while explaining to the district office that the staff at Mountain View that worked for him was committed and knowledgeable, and they didn't need to be told what to do. And I'm sure that some of those conversations were very difficult behind closed doors, but we never knew how much he provided a buffer for us as we did our jobs. We just knew that he trusted us to do our jobs and to do it well and to work as a well-oiled machine. He was a master at being a leader. We didn't even know we were being led. It always felt like it was our idea. I know that we always had a voice in what we did. He knew when to sit back and allow us to work, and he knew when and how to have tough conversations. He knew when to challenge us to be better than we ever thought we could be. I had a situation once where I had been teaching for probably maybe 10 years, and he called me into his office and he said, "Allison, I think it's time that you had a student teacher." I was like, "Oh no, John, I'm not ready. I don't think I want to do that." And I left his office, and he said, "Just think about it." And I said, no. I was pretty comfortable with what I was doing, felt pretty good about where I was in my career. And so he called me into his office the next day, and he said, "Allison," and he handed me a folder on the thing, and he said, "Your student teacher will start Monday." And I said, "Well, wait a minute. Remember our conversation yesterday when I said that, I didn't really want to do the student teacher thing?" And he said, "That's okay, he'll understand." And I said, "Are you sure about this? Because I'm not sure that I'm a good person to do this." He said, "You are just the person to do this. And this person is ready to learn from you, and you're ready to learn from them." It was the best experience of my life. So I'm grateful for that. It allowed me to grow as an educator. So he knew how to do that for you. He knew how to make you feel like you were better than you even felt you could ever be. And I can remember during my initial interview, I had done a long-term sub at Mountain View for someone who had needed to take the rest of the year off. And he asked me only one question. He let all of the other people that were doing the interviews ask me all the curriculum questions and all of those kind of really hard things. But he asked me about a certain student and how I had gotten along with him. Apparently the student had been very difficult, and his exact words are something like, "How did you get Johnny to be so successful? Because I didn't see him much at the end of the year." And I answered that I thought maybe he just needed a little extra care and understanding. And I worked on building trust because I knew that just one more new person in this child's life that he thought might not be there tomorrow. He nodded, but he was a man of few words. My mom used to say that still waters run deep. And I think that describes John perfectly. I figured I'd blown the interview. To my surprise, the next day he brought me into his office and offered me a third grade position. The rest is history. He told me later that you can teach the curriculum to anyone, but working with children and being successful with them was much harder. He had the unique ability to find staff, not just teachers, that could do that. Everyone in his school benefited from that. I worked for John for 18 years, and to be honest, and I probably shouldn't say this, I was a little upset about him retiring. I often told him that if I allowed him to retire, that he was going to have to come back to school and work in my classroom. And he did that for a couple of years before I finally let him off the hook. Those were great times, and it sort of allowed me to let go of that time. And to end this, I've got my Kleenex. I'd like to make a more personal thought process to all this. There have been truly two great educators in my life, and that have shaped my life both as a child and as an adult in my teaching career. One was a principal and teacher at my elementary school. I was a slight challenge for teachers, to say the least, and that man showed me the compassion, what compassion was, and I looked up to him. And he piqued my interest in teaching. And the second was John. He showed me how to be a great educator. He showed me my strengths and helped me to believe in myself. He modeled me into what I believe I am today, and his contributions to my life cannot be measured, and I will always be grateful for those 18 years that I learned from the Master. And John, to you, because I know you hear me, those that worked with you for so many years want you to know that we are all keeping our ducks in a row, because you used to always tell us that. So we continue to teach in your honor, and we'll never forget what you brought to our lives and the lives of the children that we serve. Thank you.